AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's rock!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Taylor Sharp. You, sir. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. We're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there. Make it a good one. Shea Dixon in 15 minutes. Louisiana Tech coach Sonny Cumbie next hour. They're going to play in Conference USA. Or maybe the Sun Belt. Or maybe both. Or just one. Or what? We'll talk about him. I'll talk about that with him in next hour. Doug Thompson in hour 3. But LSU opened up spring practice today under Lane Kiffin. So let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
I have in my hands the most valuable piece of paper that I will own throughout spring. It's a roster. Because without this, I would be screwed. LSU opened up spring practice first under Lane Kiffin Tuesday. Media got to watch 5 periods, so a little less than half an hour. The only team period we saw was when they came from the indoor to the outdoor. They ran what I would only assume was a hurry-up, no-huddle, 2-minute offense period. But given the tempo with which Lane Kiffin's offenses operate, that might just be what they do. But for our purposes, it felt like they were running 2-minute drill. 11-on-11 offense, defense. Now, if you've never been out to the LSU practice facility, there's 4 full-length football fields. And the 4 fields are paralleled. It's 2 and 2 that are parallel to one another. So effectively think 200 yards long, right? By 2, and then parallel to that, 200 yards long. Where they stationed us initially, we were able to see the 2s. On the next field over, where our view was obstructed, is where the first team ran. So I'll run through who was out there with the 2s, and with that, you could use some deductive reasoning for who was there with the 1s. But I think of most importance, a few things. Sam Levitt participated. Now, afterwards, Lane Kiffin told us he did not do any team drills. And what I think was also interesting was, in looking at Sam Levitt, there was no real visible limitation. He was not wearing any type of boot or protective cleat. He was just out there wearing his cleats, going through throwing drills with the other quarterbacks today. So I thought that was really encouraging to see Levitt out there at practice. Whit Weeks was not participating. He was there, jersey on, but not participating. And I asked Lane Kiffin afterwards, let's play this, Muse. I asked him a very direct question. I said, are there any, aside from Levitt and Weeks, anyone else absent or limited to start spring? This is his answer.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have the list because there's some guys that, individual only and stuff. So, but for the most part, most of them are out there. And that was part of going later So you'd have some guys that were, had some surgeries, had some things done, smaller ones, and so that we'd have more time to get them in shape too, so they wouldn't get injured, in the conditioning stuff before this. So we're in pretty good shape that way. I think a big part of that was moving spring really late.
So it's going to be like that. I'm going to be the guy that always asks about the injuries, and he's not going to answer it. So he's probably not going to like me very much. It's okay. I'm going to ask the questions. And it's his right to be as secretive or dismissive about that as he wants until the SEC forces a mandated injury report. It's just a contrast, right? Brian Kelly was very forthcoming with those notes, injury notes. Let us watch full practices. Lane Kiffin's going to be a little more close to the vest. That's cool. It's like I always say, it is a coach's prerogative to run their program however they want. It's our job to ask questions and try to get answers for you. So we have that access. We will. So whenever the twos were out there with the 11 on 11, I thought it was interesting. Huson Longstreet was the second quarterback, obviously because Levitt was with the ones. The second offensive line left to right, Bryson Martinez, the freshman early enrollee, was there at left tackle. Jaquan Sprinkle from NC Central was at left guard. William Satterwhite, the Tennessee transfer, was at center. Darren Stray, the Kentucky transfer, was at right guard. And then Bo Bordelon was at right tackle, one of the few holdovers. Your tight end was Malachi Thomas. Again, these were the twos. Your tight end was Malachi Thomas, the Pitt transfer. Your receivers were Trey Brown, Phillip Wright, Malik Elzy, who is huge, by the way. They have Malik Elzy. That's the transfer from Illinois. They have him listed at 6'2". Okay. Maybe he's... normally... they embellish heights and weights. Malik Elzy looks bigger than 6'2". Anyway, he's huge. And then your second-team running back was Dylan Jones, who is the Wisconsin transfer, who is compact and put together. As a matter of fact, I have a video up on my Twitter if you want to see it, of Kevin Smith putting the running backs through running back drills. And it gives you a good sort of... By the way, Kevin Smith still looks like he can go. But it's a good look at all of the running backs up close, including Durham and Berry, who are back. But then Dylan Jones, who's wearing number 13, was kind of like that next in line after. So Durham took the first rep. Dylan Jones went second, then Harlem Berry. I do not think that is indicative of how the order is going to go or their productivity or anything like that. Just something to just an observation. If you want to check out those videos on my Twitter, my Instagram, you can see it there. Couple of other things that I thought were interesting today. I did go watch the quarterbacks and receivers. So after the original 11 on 11 period, they did individuals. It was very hard to see much of the defense, and also the offensive line was on a far field from where we were. So it was really difficult to see anything with the O-line, which is disappointing because that is really the position group that I'm most interested in watching this spring. Of the receivers, maybe the only thing of note was that Tyree Holloway had a drop on a crossing pattern. But I think my biggest observation of these receivers is just that they're big. Where we kind of gotten used to the Aaron Anderson, Xavion Thomas, Barry and Brown, smaller, shiftier, quicker receivers. This group is really big. Trey Brown from Old Dominion is 6'4". Jackson Harris from Hawaii is 6'2". And by the way, he wears number 4. He is put together. Like, that dude looks like a freak athlete. I'm excited to see what he might develop into here. I mentioned Malachi Thomas, the tight end, at 6'3". You go through some of these other wide receivers out there. Roman Mothershed coming in from Troy. He's 6'5". Josh Jackson from McNeese, who transferred in, is at 6'2". They went and got a bunch of big dudes at receiver. Defensively, maybe of note, as we mentioned, Witt was not participating, but both Chris Kiffin and Blake Baker are co-DCs in title, and we knew that Chris Kiffin was now the linebackers coach, so that shifted Blake Baker to work with the star position. That was admittedly odd to see Blake Baker not working with all the linebackers, but the linebackers that were out there working at the star position were Zach Weeks, Keelan Moses, Devon Keys, Theo Grace, and Jake Ibieta. And then the other linebackers were all with Chris Kiffin. The safeties I thought were interesting as well because we've heard that Deshaun Spears is very likely going to be the starter at the star position, but he was with the safeties. Ty Benefield wears number 2. He really looks the part out there. He's the safety transfer from Boise State. So just a few early observations from the first day, and there were a few recruits out there. Trey Martin, the 4-star running back from Franklin Parish, was in attendance. His teammate DJ Neal, who's a 2028 running back prospect, was there. And Caden Ballard from Lafayette Christian from LCA, he's also a 28 prospect. He was there. So those were the 3 recruits out at practice here on the opening day. So Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays are the schedule throughout spring. We'll talk to Lane Kiffin after Tuesday practices. We'll talk to players after Thursday practices. Saturday, we're expected to get a little bit longer look where there's no cameras allowed. So maybe we'll get to see some more teams or some team stuff. So we'll keep an eye on it. But first day out there, music was blaring. I did not see Stephylan Green, the defensive lineman from Clemson. Also, Hat Tip Wilson Alexander told me he did not see Damian Shanklin out there, as well as we're sort of keeping an eye on who's out there and who isn't. But day one, again, we got a limited view of it, but they're off and running here in spring. 14 more practices to go. All right, it's after further review. Our show open every day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of your Fighting Tigers of LSU. Maybe this Saturday you'll be in Tiger Stadium for Zach Bryan. Make sure you drink plenty of delicious ice-cold Bud Light as you enjoy that show in Tiger Stadium. Maybe you're heading out to the box tonight to watch LSU against Louisiana Tech this weekend as the Tigers host Kentucky. If you're on campus, at home, at your favorite restaurant or watering hole, make sure you reach for plenty of delicious ice-cold Bud Light, the official beer of AFR and the official beer of your Fighting Tigers of LSU. All right, y'all, it's after further review. Tuesday show's powered by Sunshine. Let me knock out a quick break. Every Tuesday, we visit with Shea Dixon from On 3, the Bengal Tiger. Talk a little recruiting. We'll do that next. Here, it's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon. Get it done. Gordon McKernan, injury attorneys. Say it all the time. If you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for 3 decades. Get Gordon and get it done. But, of course, Gordon not only helps people who have been injured in accidents, Gordon and his team have done an amazing job with their NIL partnerships, as they call it, the G Team. Just another way that Gordon has given back to not only the Tigers, but schools and athletes all across Louisiana. And a hat tip to Flau'jae Johnson of the women's basketball team. Flau'jae, member of the G Team, is wrapped up her final home game this past Sunday. She was recently on a podcast with Gordon over at the Garage. And if you want to check that out, you can do that by checking out Gordon's podcast on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts. But another way that Gordon continues to give back with is the amazing NIL deals that he's done with so many great athletes and student athletes wearing the purple and gold. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
I'm glad you're bored with us here on this Tuesday edition of AFR. We always appreciate our friends at Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Bunkie and below, you want a deer, you're going to Sunshine, sunnyquip.com, sunnyquip.com. Every Tuesday, we visit with Shea Dixon from On 3, the Bengal Tiger. Good enough to hang here for a couple. Shady, how are you, man?
I'm doing well. How are you, Matt?
Doing really well. Hey, earlier today, I know there were a few recruits out there at practice. It was Trey Martin, DJ Neal, and Caden Ballard. What can you tell us about those guys being out there today?
Yeah, that you can bookend those two. Let's start with Trey Martin, kid out of Franklin Parish. We've talked about him a few times here where, like I said, he's coming out of Winsboro, plays at Franklin Parish, and is the number 10 running back on Rivals. And then right down the block here over at Catholic is Jaden Miles, who's a top 25 running back. And those are the only running backs in Louisiana who are going to be seniors who have.
I think we lost Shea. All right, let's just call him. Yep. Sorry. I don't know what's going on with the connection there. All right, we'll call Shea. We'll see if we can scoot back with him here. We'll just get him on the phone. That actually gives me a quick opportunity to remind you about Rouse's. Rouse's.com. Official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. It's Rouse's, where they got live and boiled crawfish, y'all. Get your boiled crawfish over at Rouse's. all 76 locations, boiled in-house every day over at Rouse's. Also, remember, Tuesdays is $5 sushi Tuesdays. Great opportunity to get on by lunch or dinner. Swing on in, get whatever you want for everyone in your family. Rouse's always has great deals. You can get to the website, rouses.com. You can check out their weekly specials there at the website or on their Facebook page. They are the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints, rouses.com. Rouses, this feels like home. Okay, Shea's back with us. All right, Shea, let's just start that over. The three running backs there at practice today on the opening day.
Yeah, look, Trey Martin is the guy we've talked a good bit about. He's a top 10 running back on Rivals, playing a Franklin Parish, Winsboro kid, and was in town this past weekend. So 2 visits in the span of a few days, and there was a thought that Bama has kind of led early on as LSU went through this transition period with the coaching staff, but it's clear Kevin Smith, the running backs coach, has buckled in here, and then the same with Jaden Miles over at Catholic. The only 2 kids who have LSU offers at running back in Louisiana are those 2, and both are top 25 guys nationally. So Martin making some back-to-back visits is notable. He's got official visits still to come, so a decision probably ahead of his senior year, but or at least keeping an eye on that one, given now Kevin Smith getting him back to campus again so quickly after the weekend. And then, yeah, it was a handful of running backs, including a guy that a lot of people over in the Acadiana area have been saying, hey, keep an eye on this kid. And look, when does the LCA not just churn out talent? But coming out of Lafayette Christian, 2028. So for next year, a running back, we don't have him ranked yet on Rivals. I don't see him ranked anywhere, but Matt, let's slap an early ranking on him. He's got an LSU offer as a sophomore in high school. He's got Ohio State. He's got Miami. Got Southern Cal. So he's sort of coast to coast here. And I imagine when the rankings come out, he will be debuting as a highly ranked Louisiana kid. So perhaps the top-ranked running back in the state for this year and next year. We're both on campus for practice number 1, as well as a number of other guys, including the highest-ranked lineman Louisiana has to offer this year.
Okay, who's that?
Oh, did I even know? I don't want to skip right by.
Yep.
Well, you gave the name of the running back at LCA, didn't you? Or did I mispronounce it? I couldn't remember. I was listening to
Caden Ballard is the running back.
I'm assuming it's Ballard, yes.
So I did ask Jeff Martin today, and he did say Ballard. So I'm going.
Yeah, I'm going to go there.
I'm going with Ballard.
Okay, we figured it out. But yes, so Albert Simeon, kid out of Lake Charles, he said, hey, look, he had gotten the invite a couple of times to come in and meet with the staff. And he is the number 2 interior lineman in the country. He's kind of jockeyed 1 or 2 since the rankings debuted, but he'll be a senior, so he's in this 2027 class. And he's kind of been on a world tour, man. I mean, everybody in the country wants him, and visited a lot of out-of-state schools over the past couple of months. And just because of that transition period, Matt, today was the first time he's gotten to LSU's campus again, which he was here for almost every other game in the fall, but just kind of how it lined up with his other visits, this was the first time he got to see this staff in person on LSU's campus. So he kind of wanted to make it, hey, look, I'll come for that very first practice, get to see practice, get to meet with the staff after, and start to build on that relationship, which, look, Brad Davis was here a number of years. He was a lone holdover from the Orgeron era, if I'm not mistaken. So, he's been recruiting a lot of these guys a long time. So how do you rebound from that? And Kevin talked a little bit about that today. Look, it's always a staff effort in recruiting, but he said, look, when the O-line recruits come in, and he's talking about a guy like Albert Simeon, a 5-star from Louisiana, and you've got Eric Wolford as your O-line coach, and James Craig is, I don't even know, what is his title? Is he an analyst? I mean,
I think he's an offensive line coach as well. Offensive assistant for the offensive line, yeah.
Okay, so the guy who coached one of the better units in LSU's recent memory is now back and is an assistant to Wolford, but obviously knows Lane's scheme, system, all of that, because he was with me at Ole Miss. And he says, look, we pitched to these kids. You've got 2 guys here who have coached at LSU with an Audi. Bama, you kind of run down the list of Eric Wolford as well when he worked under Saban before he retired. And then that both guys also have NFL experience. So I think when you've got these 5 stars like Albert Simeon, who, if everything goes right for him, they're playing on Sundays, And that's kind of already in their thought process of how do I go through college and prepare myself to go to that level and then play beyond that. Being able to kind of come at them with two O-line coaches is one of these reasons why I believe you listed it off last week. They're at about a 1-to-1 ratio. This is like a great private school or something, where they've got like 75 staffers and 82 players, So, we kind of, when you went through and they did a show about it last week where you talked about how many just personnel people, analysts that Kiffin and Bill Glasscock and GM have hired. I mean, you look at it, it's for reasons like this.
Yeah. Shea Dixon's with us. He's at Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. So first day of spring practice was here on Tuesday. This weekend was the junior day that you and I kind of talked about a bit last week. Ahmad Hudson was here. How did it go? What can you tell us about the weekend?
Yeah, he was the headliner, at least the highest ranked prospect that was on campus. He's a 5-star out of North Louisiana. That Ruston team, he had a handful of his teammates with him who all have. I don't know if Ruston has a kid on their team that doesn't have an offer from LSU. They've been absolutely stacking him up. But yes, Hudson, number 1 tight end. Obviously, we talked about his dad was an all-SEC player here not too long ago.
Antonio Hudson, man, it's crazy.
Here, Matt,
the Brady
right?
Ball era, man. Of course I know Antonio Hudson. It's wild.
Feels like only yesterday. But yes, so now Ahmad's coming through. And look, he's got offers from every school that's in his final top 5 or 6 teams to play basketball and football. And I think he's a little bit more into basketball than maybe a Trey-Dez Green, but boy, his future, if he kind of goes that Trey-Dez Green path, is pretty bright because most high school coaches you even talk to who watched both guys play and saw them develop say that Ahmad is further along than Trey-Dez was. Trey-Dez was more of a basketball player when he was this age, kind of going into his senior year. When he was up in the Felicianas and then at Zachary. So it kind of just puts in perspective how good this kid is. And he'll be in Nebraska next weekend. And don't brush off Nebraska here. They are the kind of other big team involved. A&M's kind of hanging around. Ole Miss is trying to get involved, given most of that, Frank Wilson and them have connections to his recruitment. But just from how he's talked, Matt, I think at the end of the day, too, if you get this to the fall and you haven't decided by then, you're putting up more than 25 points a game, and you're still getting a lot of talented offensive players then. So I'd imagine Lane Kiffin's offense, once they see it, becomes even different, and even more so, kind of hitting home for a guy like Ahmad Hudson when we see what he does with a guy like Trey-Dez Green.
Shea, a couple more things I want to make sure that we hit on. You asked the question at the press conference, say, of Lane Kiffin, and he kind of took it the angle of how Louisiana parents of Louisiana recruits sort of approach the whole recruitment and how they approach LSU. Maybe if you would just give me a thought on what you were thinking there, what you asked, Kiffin's answer, just that all-encompassing storyline.
Yeah, I mean, he was speaking about kind of being ingrained into this culture of LSU now in Louisiana, and then it opened up about recruiting, and he had talked before that about the portal and everything else, and he kind of had circled back to recruiting and honked in on saying, and this, look, he's coming off of this junior day this past weekend, which was on Saturday and Sunday, was the first time he's probably really gotten to sit down and talk with recruits and their parents kind of from around the state. They're top targets now for any extended amount of time, right? Like he went on the road and dropped in on high schools and some houses, but this past weekend gave him that opportunity, and he shared it with us. He said, look, the one thing I like, and this is a head coach who, go listen to, if you're an LSU fan or not, whatever, you're just curious about the NIL world, listen to the Lane Kiffin presser. Like, he just talks you through it of how he's have to build a roster now. And, it's an NFL type build, and you don't have the depth you used to because you got to spend money here and there and there. And he said it was just so refreshing this past weekend to have talent like you have in Louisiana, and then their parents come in and you see where they kind of get that drive from. He said, as recruits, it's the parents. The parents don't come in and say, we need this much, or what can you guarantee us? They all come in and say, look, if we come here and he plays well enough, is he going to get a fair shake? And he said that is one of the more refreshing conversations you can have right now. And sort of alluded to, hey, look, I've dealt in this NIL era for a bit now, and that's not commonplace. So that was the first kind of real insight we've gotten from him into what those kind of one-on-one meetings are like with high school kids. You know, we got so caught up in the portal in January that when he's talking to 17, 18-year-old kids, 16-year-old kids who are juniors in high school, they're dealing with their parents a lot more. And he seemed to feel like Louisiana parents have a good grip on just football and LSU and getting an education and coming in and competing.
Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. Shea, one more thing here. Other visitors maybe or things of note as they move throughout this process here with spring, which we'll be keeping an eye on?
Yeah, I think that they're going to have their hands full every day. 14 more practices. I'm told that they're going to try to have guys in every single day, even if they're local guys. So it'll be a busy stretch here. Like we said, we mentioned number 2 offensive lineman in the country, a couple of them, the number 1 running back in Louisiana for back-to-back years maybe. All those guys were on campus today. So I think coming off a big weekend, now that you've finally started spring ball, a lot of those guys are saving their visits for kind of a chance to see LSU in action, and here we are. So football's back, even if it was in a helmet and some underwear today. Eventually they will put on pads, and that's what recruits enjoy seeing.
They were wearing shorts.
They were
wearing shorts over the.
They were wearing underwear on Monday for Pro Day. Right?
Okay, that's shorts. That is fair. He's Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. Get him at Shea Dixon. All right, man, we always appreciate it. Thank you.
Have a good day, Matt.
Amen. Same to you. We're brought to you by Evamore, EVAMOR, Evamore.com, Evamore.com. Available at great local retailers. And yes, they're a Louisiana product. This is bottled water. And you might think bottled water is bottled water. That ain't the case. I'd challenge you to pick up any other bottle of water and look at the label. Remember, this is natural artesian water from this is from a spring, a natural artesian well right there on the North Shore in Covington. You look at other labels, you'll see nothing, something added for taste or taken away, like none of that stuff. It's a pure from the source water, and it's a Louisiana product. So support Evamore. They got distribution nationally, so even if you live outside of Louisiana, go to evamore.com, EVAMOR, evamore.com, evamore.com. Hit the store locator when you hit the little drop-down menu. Punch in your zip code, and you'll find the location nearest you where you can get Evamore. You can also buy it online at evamore.com, EVAMOR, evamore.com. All right, y'all, it's AFR. Glad you're hanging out with us here. Tuesday shows are powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. In 1 hour, Louisiana Tech head football coach Sonny Cumbie is going to be here. If you missed that story last week, wild. Louisiana Tech is in Conference USA, but they're trying to get to the Sun Belt. And last week, Conference USA and the Sun Belt have both unveiled schedules that include Louisiana Tech. So what's going to happen? It's also notable because Tech plays in Baton Rouge again this year. So Sonny Cumbie, who had a breakout season in Ruston last year, will be bringing his team back to Baton Rouge. We'll see how they're going in spring practice. So we'll have Coach Cumbie on with us here in about exactly 1 hour from right now. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll go around the SEC next.
AFR.
If you're thinking about selling your home, call Darren James, get your home sold. I tell you this often, but you got to remember, let this actually marinate. Darren James on the Wall Street Journal is listed the top 1% of realtors in America. Top 1% in the whole country. When it comes to the state of Louisiana, no realtor in this entire state closes more deals than Darren James. Not my opinion, that's facts. How does he do it? Well, he's got the systems and the people and all of that in place to get your home sold fast for more money. If you need to sell your home, you need the realtor that gets to a closing table more than any other. You need Darren James, and you're going to have an exceptional customer service experience. 335-7666, 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Plowing these fields in the hot summer sun. Over by the gate, Lordy,
very rarely do we get a Sunday, off during the season. Got everybody some rest yesterday. Wanted to give the players, honestly, a little bit of a mental reset. And I felt like that's what this team needs and needed. We also are a little bit beat up physically. Nothing that's going to keep anybody out of games, but some key players are dealing with some things that are slowing them down that are normal this time of year. And we need those guys on the field and for their best bowl tomorrow night, because we're playing a really good team with a winning record. And, we need to win as many games as we can against teams with winning records. And we have a good opportunity for that tomorrow night.
Jay Johnson on his radio show Monday night, he was referring obviously to LSU's game against Louisiana Tech tonight at Alec Box Stadium. We will have Doug Thompson, former Tiger pitcher. Of course, you hear him on the LSU Sports Radio Network with us here in hour number 3. Get Doug's thoughts on some of this. But one of the things that Jay said after the series over the weekend was maybe you can expect some lineup changes. And certainly what he's alluding to, as we've discussed here, is getting more of the younger guys some playing time. He mentioned William Patrick by name. We've already seen Omar Cerna now inserted into the lineup. And that was something Jay sort of doubled down on during his radio show.
I think in its totality, if you look at it, I always talk to the team about the game will come down to 4 or 5 pitches. You never know when they're coming. That's why that mental game is so important. But I want to look at the things like we just need to do better. Like we can't go down on 30 pitches from the 2nd to the 4th inning when your starter is out there grinding. Like you have to help him out. It doesn't always mean score runs, but we've been pretty good at elevating pitch counts here over the last 4 years, and this team has not done a great job of that. It's putting more pressure on the pitching staff, and I think there are things that we can be better at and correctable, and we're going to work on that and starting tomorrow and implement them into the game immediately.
I'll be fascinated to see what changes they make. One of the things we've talked about, obviously, is that like Omar Cerna is not coming out of the lineup. That's just, I think we can all probably agree, that's a thing. Like he's, be it catcher, DH, first base, he's going to play. Like he'll be in the lineup every day. I think the other obvious spot where you're looking, if we're assuming John Pearson is going to continue playing third, the other obvious spot is at second base. I mean, Stephen Milam's not coming out at short. You're either going to catch Aaron Beatty or Cerna. So if tonight Aaron Beatty catches, and I don't know that he will, we'll see. But if then you either DH Cerna, you play him at first. But maybe it's an opportunity to get Eddie Yaman an opportunity at first base. Could certainly play either corner infield spots. And then at second base, do we see William Patrick, someone who Jay Johnson on Saturday mentioned by name? And it'll be a fascinating test case to see if William Patrick gets that opportunity, because that's a guy who played shortstop in high school. He projects as an outfielder here at LSU, but where are you going to put him? I mean, you got Stanfield, Curiel, and Brown. He ain't playing. So, I mean, the opportunity in left earlier in the year was there while Stanfield missed 16 games with a hand injury, and they played a lot of guys out there. But Stanfield's back in that set, so really the spot you're looking at is second base. So do we see William Patrick on the right side of the infield in this game tonight? Maybe more importantly, even still, yes, see if he gives LSU a steady presence defensively, but what does he give you offensively? Is that a guy that can go give you a competitive at bat, like Jay was just alluding to there, drive up a pitch count, maybe get on base, and when he's on base, do some damage? Like, can you score from first on an extra base hit? Can you go first to third on a single? That's the kind of things. Can you steal a base, just a straight steal? As a super fast guy with great athleticism, to put more pressure on the opponent. I mean, those are the types of things right now that Jay's alluding to. It doesn't always mean score runs, but it means make the other team work harder. And there haven't been a lot of high stress innings for opponents. It certainly was the case this past weekend. I mean, your pitchers allowed 9 runs over 3 games, and you lost the series. That's atrocious. It's just nobody should feel like their status quo at this point is good enough. So you got a roster full of talented guys. Go see who might be able to make some hay for you. That'll start tonight against Louisiana Tech. I get the midweeks aren't exactly what people like. It's not appointment viewing for a lot of people, and I'll watch. Muse will watch every game. But sometimes you watch not only for the result, it's for the process of what it's going to get you toward. And I think this is one of those games where you're going to look and say, okay, there's going to be an opportunity for someone or several people, and how they deliver or don't on this weekend, on tonight's game, could provide their opportunity for the weekend. All right, it's after further review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. We are brought to you by Shaw Bills, Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. We'll go around the SEC here in just a quick second, but got to remind you, if you're hitting the road, spring break's coming up, Easter's coming up, Maybe you're going to go visit family. My brother and his family who live in South Bend, they're going to be driving down from South Bend to Louisiana for Easter. Maybe you're going the other way. You live here, but you're going somewhere else. Make sure before you do, you bring your vehicle to Shawbills. Get that thing tuned up, running in tip-top shape so it can get you and your family wherever you're going safely, or just everyday wear and tear, and you need work done on your vehicle, your oil change, your tire rotations. Maybe you need new wiper blades, maybe to check engine lights on, whatever service you may need. Shawbills can help you out. And, of course, they're going to sell you name brand tires at wholesale prices. I always encourage you, go to the website, hit that promotions tab at the top. ShawbillsTire.com, ShawbillsTire.com. Hit the promotions tab at the top. When you hit the promotions tab at the top, you'll see the drop down. You'll see all the different specials and all the promotions that they have. It'll list every single promotion they're currently running on tires. So hit that promotions tab, and it'll show you all the current promotions that they have, how you can save. And remember, the price match guarantee. If you buy tires at Shawbills and you find those tires advertised cheaper somewhere else, they'll refund you 125% of the difference. So you're going to get the best price, the best tires at the best price. Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. ShawbillsTire.com. Shawbills, we keep you rolling. Okay, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the South Carolina Gamecocks.
Shane Beamer gave an update on Dylan Stewart's injury recovery. The Edge is still not 100% after the back injury limited him in the latter part of the 2025 season. Still out of spring practice as of right now. They expect him to be limited throughout the entire spring, according to Beamer. Right now, it means literally just doing nothing. So they're trying to get him healthy.
The Texas Longhorns.
Sark revealed the two Longhorns underwent surgery. They are redshirt freshman wide receiver Kalik Lockett and then incoming freshman offensive tackle Caden Scherer. Both underwent successful surgery recently. Lockett should be in time for the summer. No timetable yet for Scherer. As a freshman, Lockett had 5 catches for 47 yards.
The Florida Gators.
Speaking of receivers, Dallas Wilson out of the boot heading into spring football. That according to John Sumrall. As a freshman last year, Wilson had 12 catches for 174 yards, 3 touchdowns, all that in just 4 games played as he battled injury, suffered a season-ending injury in the loss to Florida. So Sumrall said Wilson's out of the boot, will return to running the running program here this week and start to trend toward that direction, but there's no rush to get him back on the field. They obviously want him ready for fall camp.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
Defensive tackle David Hobbs has been sidelined with an injury that'll keep him out for the rest of spring practice. VolQuest confirming that it's a foot injury for Hobbs. He's out of North Carolina. He suffered the injury in fall camp back in August, missed most of fall camp, first month of the season. A recurrence of that injury is what's limiting him right now. 6'4", 290. He's most experienced interior defensive lineman for the Vols, but he's going to be out likely for the rest of spring.
The Missouri Tigers.
Baylor edge Cameron Morgan has signed with Missouri out of the transfer portal. Played 10 games as a true freshman this past season. 6'5", 251. He was the third-string outside linebacker, played 125 snaps last year, but he's leaving Waco and headed to Como.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
And Darius Acuff has landed a signature shoe deal with Reebok. Shams Charania. It was a Shams bomb. Same pod, hard here. Yeah, I got it. Originally signed an NIL deal with Reebok last May, but now is signed a signature shoe deal. First NCAA men's athlete to receive a signature shoe deal while still in college. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC. Our Tuesday shows are powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Remember, sunnyquip.com, sunnyquip.com. Bunky and below, you want a Deere, you're going to Sunshine. Yep, they got your heavy-duty farm equipment, but they also got your tractor, your mowers, your zero-turn mowers, your gators. Check them out over at Sunshine. And your tailgating gear. You need that portable generator to power your tailgate? Go to Sunshine. Newest location right there on Pico in Baton Rouge off of I-10 between Highland and Seguin. Trust me, you can't miss it. Like if you're driving down I-10 between Seguin and Highland, at the Pico exit, you cannot miss it. Trees have been cleared everywhere. It's just a giant Sunshine building right there. Sunnyquip.com, sunnyquip.com. Okay, y'all, let's knock out our final break here of hour number 1. We'll come back. There is an interesting proposal right now for a renovation of the Smoothie King Center that I want to get to. Coming up right after the top of the hour, we'll jump back to LSU football. Lane Kiffin met with reporters after practice today. If you missed it, we open with a practice report. We'll let you hear from Kiffin coming up in about 15 minutes. It's AFR.
After further review.
All right. It's that time of year, y'all. Temperatures are heating up. It's 81 degrees right now. It's time for your preseason AC tune-up from River City's 1 Hour Air. I say it this way all the time. I've said it for years. You would not go drive across the country without first getting your oil changed, your tires rotated. Make sure your car is in tip-top shape. Do not go through the brutal, oppressive summer months in Louisiana without making sure that your AC is running its most efficiently. Think of this as like an oil change for your AC. They're going to make sure your AC is running efficiently, prevents small issues from becoming very big, very expensive issues, and this will extend the life of your unit so you don't have to replace it as frequently. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
All right, wrapping up hour number one. So there is a proposal that the Pelicans are making in conjunction with the City of New Orleans, State of Louisiana, for a massive, large-scale renovation to the Smoothie King Center. You can see these renderings online. The New Orleans Downtown Development District has released the renderings of this proposal, which includes this new fan plaza, which if you're watching, not listening, there it is right there, which looks amazing. They've added some trees, some greenery, a cool area between the Smoothie King Center and the Dome. The exterior of the building doesn't change tremendously, but the real big additions that they're proposing are expanded lower bowl seating, upgraded amenities, which include VIP club lounges, new sideline clubs, the bunker suites like what you see in football, an upper-level party deck, grab-and-go concession markets, and they'll refurbish the existing suites and some high-end furnishings and things like that. They're also going to sort of reimagine the area outside of the arena, redesign the lobby, the entrance area, just making over a building which is, is 25 years old. And very much, if you're looking to stay competitive in that respect and draw people out, yes, an arena, an experience can and will do that. Now, when we have these conversations, this will require approval from the Louisiana Stadium and Exposition District, by the way. But when we have these conversations, typically it goes two ways. Most people are on board with it. They love the idea of a new place, a new space, upgraded, all that sort of stuff. Most people also don't want to pay for it. So there's always this conversation about who pays for it. And the proposal is it would be a public-private partnership with the state and the Pelicans, similar to what they just did for that $500 million renovation of the Superdome. And this will also coincide, no doubt, with the team negotiating their lease extension beyond 2029. It should come as no surprise to you where I fall on this. I am a believer in bringing business and economics into the state. The New Orleans Pelicans are a billion-dollar business. Don't think of it as a sports franchise if you like the team or not. That's irrelevant. It's a billion-dollar business that resides in the state. And just like the state of Louisiana will do interesting structured of deals to entice the movie industry or Meta or our friends from Woodside Energy who are here, it should be no different in the way they approach the Saints or the Pelicans. These are billion-dollar businesses that help drive our economy and should absolutely be treated as such. So if you can come up with a creative structure to make this make sense, I love it. Now, from a fan perspective, the party deck on the third level, I think, makes too much sense. Nobody wants to buy a ticket in section 319 and watch little dots down run around the bottom of the arena. You create a party deck. Now it's less about just sitting there in a bad seat with a bad sight line, and now you have an experience that people will go to. I love that. The VIP clubs, the bunker suites, all of it, premium seating. Yes, 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 yes. I think this is a fantastic idea. More ways to entice people to come out. The biggest way, obviously, there will be produce a winning team. Pelicans have actually tried to do a little bit of winning of late. Here's hoping they can do more of it. But yes, renovations to the arena, cosign, 10 out of 10. Let me know your thoughts. Email us, tweet us, text us. Lots of ways you can get involved in the show. It's After Further Review. Powered by Sunshine. Hour number 2 coming up right after SportsCenter.
After Further Review.
A lot of people get married in the spring when the weather's really nice, which means a lot of people have anniversaries in the spring. Maybe that's you. Maybe you have an anniversary coming up. Need to get that anniversary gift and you're just not sure what to buy. Or maybe you have one of those milestone anniversaries coming up. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry is the place you want to go. LMFJ.com. That's a website. Or you can walk into any of the 9 Lee Michaels locations. Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport, and online at lmfj.com. lmfj.com, where they specialize in the Lee Michaels experience. Their selection is unparalleled with 9 different locations, and Scott goes on buying trips all over the world to bring the best selection here to Louisiana. You're going to get the best selection, but you always get the Lee Michaels experience. Walk through the door. You'll know what I mean. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry.